Today on Geek Devotions, we're talking about the Queen's Gambit and why you should not always try to do things on your own. Hello, devoted geeks. Welcome to Geek Devotions, a show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting you know that you are loved. I'm Dallas, and this is
Celeste, and we are so glad that you have hit play today. And just in case you haven't been here before, we are the show from two devoted geeks who are devoted to letting you know that you are loved.
Yes, so if you don't watch past this moment at all, know this. We love you. We care about you. And, hey, God does have a plan and purpose for your life.
So if you're liking what you're seeing, you're enjoying our content, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check out all of our other stuff on all the other socials. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, website.
Yes. Check all those out. As I said in our intro, today we're talking about The Queen's Gambit, which is a Netflix original series about a young lady named Beth, who is a prodigy at chess. She was orphaned as a young lady, and in her orphanage, she learned how to play chess from the janitor, who surprisingly was very, very good at it. And he was even more surprised at how quickly she picked it up and how quickly she learned to dominate the game. The entire series is relatively interesting as you follow Beth and her progression of falling in love with the game and, like I said, just dominating it completely. Like, she is wiping the floor with people left and right. But also you see her kind of struggling with stuff because as she grows, she's kind of real isolated. She's very independent on her own. And later in the series, she's getting to a point where she's about to enter into a very big space. She's about to go overseas to play chess against the top Russians in the world. Now, in the world of the series, the Russians are the top of the top. They are scary individuals when it comes to the game of chess. And she's a bit nervous, she's a bit worried about it. And while she's talking to one of her friends about the situation, he says something very interesting to me. He says the difference between the way the Russians play and the way the Americans play, it boils down to this. Russians help each other. Americans, we're very independent and we're very, John Wayne, we're on our own, we're doing this on our own. But in Russia, they help each other out. And later, you see this actually play out in the midst of the tournament in Russia, where Beth is literally, she's at her wit's end, and she's playing against one of the world masters of chess, and they're having to adjourn for the night. And as she's walking back to her room, she looks down the hallway, and she sees a group of Russians together, analyzing the board that they have, and plotting and planning things out, one step at a time. And she is panicked, and she goes back to her room to study things out. Now, fortunately, she's able to pull it together herself and win that match the next day. However, she then has to play against basically the world champion. This guy is the best of the best. He's kind of a scary looking. The actor who played him, very talented at intimidating people. Very talented. And they come to have to adjourn again for the night. And that night she goes home. Again, she's stressed out. And one of her old friends shows up. And they spend the night talking about things. The next morning, he answers the phone for her that comes to her bedroom. And he goes, I have something here for you. And she picks up the phone. And what she discovers is a group of friends back home who have spent the last 4 hours analyzing the game from the night before and helping her to create strategies to help her accomplish the win that she needed, to help her overcome her fear, overcome the situation she was in, and to win. Now, at the end of the day, it's still her at the chess table. It's still her sitting there, eye to eye with her opponent and making moves. She has all the stuff planned out in her head, but she has to be the one that makes those movements. But she was able to walk into that because of the confidence she had from her friends who stood behind her, who backed her the entire time. And this got me thinking about us as individuals. Oftentimes, we like to do things on our own. People are independent by nature, especially if you're one of us Americans. And we try to do things on our own. We feel like we have to do things on our own for one reason or another. And as Christians, we really fall into that trap a lot because we feel like on our faith, we have to do things alone. But that's not the case. Over and over, you see in the scriptures about the vocabulary about the body of Christ and how we're not supposed to forsake the fellowship, that we're supposed to have a congregation of individuals that we believe in, that believe in us and support us and help us make steps one moment at a time in our walk with God to succeed in what God has for us. Even looking back at the scriptures, you see that King David, who's kind of like the pinnacle of Christianity, not really necessarily the pinnacle of Christianity, that's bad phrasing, but he's kind of the guy that people look to a lot as kind of like, hey, this is a staple individual. He's a man that is described as a man after God's own heart. And you see him, if you look at scriptures, he made failure after failure. But still, what made him successful is that he didn't do things alone. In 2 Samuel chapter 23, you see described what we call David's mighty men. This was a group of men who were there to defend him, to hold him up, to back him, and to hold the ground where the ground needed to be held for him. These were the best, and David depended on them. Similarly, we need people in our lives who can back us, who can hold us up, who can help us move forward. We were never meant to be isolated. We were never meant to have a mindset that I have to do this on my own. We need people who can step back and see the chessboard of life in front of us and help us make plans. Help us see where the enemy has maybe set up traps for us so we can make movement where we need to. Again, at the end of the day, it's you walking this world on your own. You are responsible for your own choices. But having wise counsel, have people who can support you, who can back you, who will go, hey, let's walk this way together. It makes it easier. It makes it more likely for you to be successful in your walk with God. Don't fall for the trap of being isolated. That's exactly what the enemy wants. He wants you to be isolated so that at the end of the night, you feel like you're all alone. And that's when you start to make the worst mistakes of your life. So my encouragement for you guys is find those individuals in your life who will support you. Find a body of believers in a Christian, Bible-based believing community who will point you back to Jesus, who will help you to step back and go, hey, what's going on in your life? What's happening here? What's happening there? Help you to plot out what's ahead of you so you can be successful, so you can walk in what God actually has for you. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Geek Devotions. We hope that it's encouraged you, maybe even challenged you to step out of some comfort zones that you have in your life. That being said, it's time for the question of the week. All right, so here's your question of the week. Obviously, this episode was heavily based around chess, and it's a fun game. I enjoy playing chess, but what is your favorite board game and why? Leave your comments down below and let us know what your favorite board game of all time is.
Now, real quick, guys, we have just a few announcements. We are potentially in the near future, very near future, going to be giving you an opportunity to, even if you are not one of our amazing devoted Patreon geeks, to help us go to the next level with some things.
Absolutely. I also want to let you guys know we have a brand new episode of our podcast coming out soon. We're starting a new segment about music, and we're really excited about it because we have some amazing friends who are joining the team to help put out some amazing content to encourage you to maybe open your eyes to some new stuff and help you be informed about some amazing music that's coming out. So all that being said,
stay devoted.
Peace and love.